And that brings us to the next point, actually, that in this day and age, attention spans are getting shorter and shorter and shorter. What people are looking for are something is quick, something is clean, something is fast, and it has to be suited to me, right? It has to be super tailored to me. At the same time, because of that, I feel that we're very disconnected in some ways, and I'm just wondering, what can we do as part of the community to still kind of play to that, but still maintain a higher level of engagement? But what's exactly, in your opinion, right, is missing in today's form of engagement, or just engagement in general?
I think it's important to understand the essence of who we are. I don't want to get too deep on this because I'm not the expert, but I feel that as human beings, our generic makeup insists that we're attached to a family, attached to a community. Having attachment is one of our core generic purposes as human beings. And I feel that what's happened with the pandemic and the returning phases that we're going through is that this sense of attachment has been challenged by alienation. So we've become alienated in a sense that we want attachment to our webinars and to our podcasts. We want to be attached and involved, but we become the observer. So therefore we become alienated, and therefore we don't feel engaged to be so present within maybe the work environment or within a presentation. Like our presentation here is there's a sense of attachment, commitment, because we're one-on-one, talking one-on-one visually and orally. So my physicality is being satisfied with my normal attachment to you, even though you're not in the same room and we're not sitting around in a cafe talking or in a lounge room. But because we're spending more time now, well, probably all the time online. Well, I know I do. I don't have any sort of face-to-face communications. I mean, you know what I mean, within reason. The idea of being alienated and becoming non-responsive to what's going on in the digital environment. I got on a call the other day. It was actually set up by a PR company. It was for a client launch of a product, which happens quite a lot. And I got on the call and there was no way of knowing how many people were actually in the audience. Like, I'd like to know, like when I go to a presentation, like you go to the entertainment center and there'd be like 5,000 people, there's a sense of excitement and there's a sense of purpose and there's a sense of attachment to the people around you, and you anticipate, the anticipation of what's about to happen. But then you jump onto these sort of launches or webinars, and it's like, okay, well, I can see there's a facilitator and there's 3 guests, and 3 of the windows have got branding, and one hasn't because for some reason that person hasn't got it together technically to put the background in. Just little things like that, and it's like, oh, okay, well, this is going to be a little bit drab. And then it all starts and they're talking to their audience, and it's like, but we don't know how many audiences are there. Like, are there 30 people? Are there 300 people? And then you get like, the after event emails saying, we want to thank our 3,500 guests. And it's like, oh, come on, like really, if there was, why didn't you tell us on the day? It's all of this stuff which is disengaging me to want to do it again. I don't really want to do it again. I actually left. I didn't have time. I would have had time if I was engaged, but I wasn't engaged because I didn't know how many people were there. I didn't feel like I was a part of a community. I didn't feel like I was a part of an audience. I wasn't being acknowledged. It's like the people that are watching this podcast on YouTube or whichever environment, they can stream this podcast. the audience that are here, we thank you for watching, because you are why we are here, right? We are here not just for us to be talking about our professional outlook on soft and hard skills. We want to be here to share our knowledge with our audience, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I need to know in those situations if the audience is there, and in turn I become alienated from the situation, which in the long term, the more I do and the less amount of professionalism that comes in to a, say, podcast or work webinar presentation or anything that's streamed, we need to be really mindful that we need to remain attached, because if we become alienated, it could have a long-term effect on our attitude towards contributing as a professional within our given field. That's where I feel what's missing with engagement. But then when we talk about engagement above and beyond media and articles and content, like what we do on Expat Choice, but just in the big ecosystem of the digital world, one of the best presentations that I saw, and I'm not name drawing, but it was like the Australian Professional Speakers Association. And it was like the most magnificently run, I think it went for a week, and you could jump in or jump out at any stage, and it was all digital, and it was done with so much credibility, so much professionalism. It had engagement. There was no alienation in any way whatsoever. Okay, they're a speakers association, but if they can do it, can't everybody else do it? Can't we invest more in, we have community managers. What about digital managers that train us to understand how to set up the environments and make sure everything's working before we go live? In the one I was referring to last week, which was totally disengaging, the key speaker actually had to get up and at one stage turned around and we saw her backside. And then her husband came in and it was muted off, and it was like all this stuff was going on. It was at that point I left. Right? And I just felt sorry.
I thought that was the best part.
Well, we're all going to have a laugh sometime, don't we? But it was just a shame for the client, but yeah. So I think, we need to, I think what's missing, possibly it may exist, is the focus on upskilling. We need to all upskill. So in my ecosystem, I want my marketing people to upskill. I want my PR people to upskill. I want them to change, because you know what? I'm not seeing them change, and everybody else is changing.
Right.
But I'm really not seeing my public relations ecosystem change within the media landscape. It's sort of like business as usual, but it's not. It's not business as usual. It's very, very different times. I've had to cut literally thousands of dollars from my salaries. So the money that I allocate within my budget, I had to literally cut by 70% last year, which meant a lot of people didn't get as much work, but I had 100% of work, and I had to cut 70% of work, not 70% of people. If anything, I've actually increased the amount of people doing work, but they're all getting less money. But isn't it better that everyone gets a little bit less and just a couple of people in the pie making the most? Because we've got to share the love as well. So I've just trained up 2 new people in India, for example, and they're quite young, 19, 18 and 19. But, the one that's 19 is a drummer, and he did so much work last week. I just did a reconciliation of last month, of May. And, for someone living in India, I think he earned 468 Singapore dollars, which is that's a full wage from where he lives in India. But he did a huge amount of work, which was great. But, we've had to cut back. Things have changed. I don't have an office anymore. I work from my home, which is fantastic, because I've got an office upstairs and I've got my living downstairs, so I'm blessed in that. But, this engagement, I think we need to think about upskilling. I think we need to focus on the segments within our ecosystem, and I'm in the publishing and media ecosystem, so we've got to look at sales, PR, marketing, support. Everyone needs to sort of upskill and invest time.
Invest more time and also more thought. I think the greatest thing about downtime is the ability to think. Unfortunately, we use downtime in the wrong ways sometimes. But I really do think that by upskilling our PR, sales, marketing, just on a strategic level, thinking about how we can actually engage, the engagement strategy is now very different. Because I was thinking about it on a B2B level, right? Why wouldn't I want to engage them in a different way? Why must I still go with the typical cold call, the traditional email? These are the 5 ways that we can do this, and then you got a hook, and then after that you got your closing statement, right? So why do we keep following this, but not going toward what the trends are, which is community? Our clients are a community. Why can't we just look at it that way? We're not a media house. We're not all a media house. We're not all PR professionals, but that doesn't mean that we can't take a play from their playbook.
Yeah.
So, engagement strategy to me is very straightforward. Find out what they care about and work with that. If the customer doesn't want this kind of thing, what can we do rather than thinking the product is this only? But turn it around and see what's best, and how can we make this more flexible for that particular client.
Yep.
So again, it's the pros and cons are really there, right? Because the question really is what's missing in today's engagement. To be honest, it's not exactly what's missing, but I think come to think of it, it's where the engagement is moving toward and where we need to catch up to.
Yes.
Everything keeps evolving, and from back then, right? TV, you had to wait a week just for one episode, right? And you'd only catch that every week. But now it's like I could watch the whole thing in a day. The whole season is available now on Netflix or any subscription-based platform out there. I could consume everything within a day as what I would in 3 months back in the day, right? You were in the Yellow Pages finding a phone number, finding a bloody phone number in the traditional Yellow Pages took a long time. I don't even want to know how long anymore. Just flipping through the L's, right? For Chinese names, you're going to die already. But fact is, now you just need to Google it in 8 seconds. Sorry, in 8 seconds, that would be your search, and you're scrolling through and you find everything that you need. So everything, the time frames are getting shorter and shorter and shorter. What is it that we need to do to be able to then crystallize our messages so well that now we just hit it right there on the spot?
It's an interesting metaphor that you bring up, because it's okay if you know what you want and you can find it quickly, but when you don't know what you want, it's a nightmare because of the clutter on the internet. You can look up leather bag repair.
Oh.
Right? Now, actually, it's a case that I had to get my very favourite leather bag that I've had for years, and the zipper broke and I needed to get it fixed. And I had to find somewhere, and it was proof in the pudding that there's so much clutter and there really isn't any way to qualify. Oh, there's one here at Vivo City, or there's one at Suntec, there's one in East Coast at, wherever, East Coast Plaza or whatever it's called. And you really don't know how to qualify that. And so what I'm feeling about engagement is that we're now starting to get alternatives to Google. I can't even think of the name, but like an alternative to Google Analytics, I should say, for marketers, which is great. Different ways of looking at your data and understanding a much deeper level about your data. But I do feel that there's 2 things that are happening that are very evident. One is we still see banner advertising, programmatic banner advertising all over the internet. That's selling us a message. It's selling us a brand, okay? But it's not very good at call to action. We're not clicking on those banners and buttons and towers and overlays. That's just like the billboard. I like to call it we're driving down the highway. Look, in Singapore, we're not really used to this, but when you travel outside of Singapore, of course, for people that are global locals that have travelled around the world, you're driving up the highway between Melbourne and Sydney and you go past 400 billboards. And every one of those billboards costs tens of thousands of dollars. And what are they selling? They're selling a brand. You're not going to click on it. You're not going to ring it. You're just selling a brand. So there where the engagement comes in is when those brands then spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on content creation. And we start to read articles about leather bag repair. Did we know about the different types of leather, the different leather that comes out in Australia, different types of zips that are made from different types of materials? And did we know that this one is affecting the environment? And I mean, there's so much more than just the leather bag and the zip. And this is what brands are investing in. And this is why there's this huge uptake of content businesses. And I'm very passionate about building choice content as a content business. And I look at Expat Choice and I say, what is Expat Choice? We are ideally three things. One, we're sort of like a tech company because we build technical things with a partner. And then we're sort of like a content company. So because we're producing a huge amount of unique evergreen content that's going to be on the internet forever. Okay? And included in that is a lot of video content that for clients, we're creating video content and we're also distributing it across our channels, which is our website, our mobile site, and our social media sites, etc. So then what are they paying for? Are they paying for the creation of the content? Or are they paying for the distribution of the content? So with something like SPH or MediaCorp, they're paying for the distribution of the content because they tend to give the creation of the content for free. It's always been, okay, I want an ad in a magazine. We will create the ad for you free of charge, but you'll pay thousands of dollars to have it in the magazine. You can flip that around. Pay thousands of dollars to create the ad and then distribute it free of charge across different mediums. So it's like the way we look at the distribution channels associated with our content, which forms the engagement. So what I like to do is within our current structure, have a bit of both, where I've got premium high-end clients who are, in professionals within, whatever segment. I don't want to isolate, but we've got an even mix. We want to have the content marketing. We want very deep content that is going to be evergreen, so that when we distribute it across the Expat Choice network, it'll be found across the search environment forever. So it needs to be a relevant article that has good SEO. It's been optimized with SEO so that we've got the right keywords, etc., etc. But then with that, we want to make some videos that have got like engaging captions so that the people that are like on the MRT on their way home can watch the video rather than read it. They might watch the video of all the of the images instead of having to read about the leather bag, and we can see the captions that come in. So this form of engagement is top of mind for all of us now, whether we're consciously thinking about it or not. So you're more likely to read an article that has a great headline and is not of a selling nature. But it's okay to have a backlink to a product, good, or service provider. Okay? So that's the other thing. And then the third area, of course, for Expat Choice is community. So we do three things. We do tech, we do content, and we do community. And you hit the nail on the head that all of our customers are our community. So shouldn't we be giving them what they're expecting, and that's good content? So rather than sending someone, hey, can I tell you that your website has got a really low SEO count and our company can make it better for you? How many times do you get an email like that? I mean,
I just got one this morning.
And it's like, hang on, how dare you say that to me? Like, I don't even know who you are. Wouldn't it be better like to send me, hi, my name's John, I'm from SEO Optimization Singapore, and here's a great article about 10 things you should know about your website. I'm probably more likely going to click on that.
Yep.
Right? So it's just how are we engaging with people? People are still sending those lock, stock, barrel sales emails all over the place, trying to create leads. Yep. So, yeah, there's definitely something what's missing out in today's engagement. It's like we're not upskilling, and we're not actually understanding that our clients are our community, and we need to treat them like a family member, and we should be a trusted advisor at every step of the conversation or of the communication. They need to be treated with respect, and we need to understand that our clients, who are our community, need to take their own control and be empowered by the information we give them so they can make a buying decision that's qualified. So therefore, I just became the salesperson. But it's so true. It fits in with content creation. It fits in with building community. It does. It all comes together. It does come together like an orchestrated composition.
Yeah, because the core of it is still people. It's still that love for people, that love for connecting with people and making sure that somebody leaves with a smile on their face. I really think that these are the best things, about, I was previously in tourism, so that bit has always been with me, to be able to see and, see happy tourists come and happy tourists go, not they're coming here happy and all of a sudden it's like, this thing sucks, I'm leaving, they took my money, that's the worst thing that could happen. And really, that's on a bad day, you'll see a couple of those things happen because experiences were ruined. But they were so interested to come down because of what they had seen, what they have heard, what they had probably, just read somewhere that this was a great experience and we want to try it. But when they actually do it, the disappointment factor is there. And this is the last thing that we want. So you've got the planning, you've got the operations, you've got the marketing, and of course you've got the execution. So yeah, the proof is in the pudding, and you got to make sure that works. This was a great conversation with you, John, regarding engagement. It's such a big topic. I think we could go on for hours and hours and hours, right? So I would suggest that we actually do a part 2 of this, in the near future. In the meantime, in